I would like to introduce the first candidate this evening. His name is James Coughlin. He comes from the Shire town of Dedham, and if you don't know what that means, we are in Norfolk County, and Dedham is the Shire town of our county, which is 28 communities. So with that, welcome, Mr. Coughlin, and thank you for being with us this evening.
Yeah, first off, thank you all for having me. I greatly appreciate this opportunity to speak with you. My name is Jimmy Coughlin, as was said, lifelong Dedham resident, running for Norfolk County Sheriff. The reasons why is that I spent 29 years on the Mass State Police. I think the position of sheriff should be a professional public safety position. And I believe with my background, I have the talents and abilities to be an effective sheriff. I grew up in Dedham, married, 4 kids. I graduated from Dedham Public Schools. I went on to the UMass Amherst, earned my Bachelor of Science degree there. I got on the state police in 1988. And while I was on the state police, I went to school weekends and nights, and I earned my master's degree in criminal justice. On my time on the state police, I was promoted up through the ranks to the rank of detective captain. And why that's important is because in my 29 years on the state police, I held supervisory and managerial positions. I want to be elected to the sheriff's office and professionalize the sheriff's department. I believe in training. I believe that the correction officers at the jail should have the best training. They are a branch, another entity in the law enforcement community. And I believe with my credentials, I can professionalize the jail. I want to get them the best training, the best equipment. And especially nowadays, in light of the horrific things that are going on, training in my eye is everything. Police officers and especially correction officers today, they need extensive training in use of force. They need training in communication skills. They need training in de-escalation skills. As a sheriff and a former law enforcement person who has been through many of that training, I will make sure that the correction officers at the jail will be professional and have the training and be able to deal with the inmates in a professional, compassionate, and respectful way. Also, I believe in the jail that I'm a big programs guy, but just creating programs, it's not about just creating programs. I believe that programs should be evidence-based. If they're not working, let's try something else. But I'm willing to try anything. And most importantly, in Norfolk County Jail, the average sentence stay in the jail is 90 days. And the majority of the inmates and people in the jail are nonviolent criminal offenders. To me, these are the people we need to help the most. These are the people we can help the most. So I want to be involved in creating partnerships outside the jail where the sheriff is not just opening up the front door of the jail and letting people out. The sheriff is involved with providing support to them after they leave the jail, because it's all about public safety and reducing recidivism. We don't want these people to reoffend. We want to create more opportunities than obstacles. We want to give them support. And I think the sheriff has to be more proactive in the community with creating partnerships with the nonprofits, the police departments, the district attorneys, trade laborers. I believe that a big part of a person's success is just having employment, having a job that they're proud of, being able to provide, have an income and be able to pay their bills. That creates self-esteem. And I want to be a part of that. Also, very quickly, the jail, I think that the jail needs a regional lockup. We have to support the local police, because I was on the state police, and if you got arrested by the state police and you spent a weekend in a state police holding cell is not a very good thing. The sheriff should be involved in with the local police and have a regional lockup, and then the inmates, when they're held for court, they're going to be not treated better, but they're going to have better accommodations. They're going to have access to medical treatment. They're going to be housed by professionals, because that's what the sheriff's office does. It's care, custody, and control of inmates. So I believe that's a very important aspect. I also I believe that the sheriff should look into housing female prisoners in Norfolk County, because in Norfolk County, males are housed there. Females go to MCI Framingham, which is state prison, one of the oldest prisons in the country. I don't think that's fair. I think that's a discriminatory thing. We need to house women at the Norfolk County Jail. And lastly, we know drugs and alcohol. My basic philosophy, my belief is that alcoholism and substance use disorder are diseases. So if you're in the jail with high blood pressure, you get your medication. If you're an alcoholic or a substance use with substance use disorder, you need the treatment also. You need that treatment. So I believe I think the jails should have a separate mental health housing unit in the jail. So these are things that I will do as sheriff. I think we need to be more proactive on the outside of the jail, because it's all about creating more opportunities than obstacles. So with that, I hope I didn't take up too much time.
Okay, great. We have a number of questions. So far I've got 3 people down on the list, with the first being John Kane. So please be mindful of the amount of time that we have, and so please keep the questions short. So I'm just looking for John Kane here in this book, and there we are. And I'm unmuting him for it.
Well, good evening. That was a very good presentation. I really appreciated your comments about programs to assist folks that are incarcerated in getting out. I totally respect and support law enforcement. I have relatives, I have friends and neighbors that care about the police department. Black Lives Matter means one thing to some and another thing to others. What is your view, and how would you deal with it?
Well, simply put, my answer is absolutely, unequivocally, of course, Black Lives Matter, period. It's time for, the sheriff, I think, shouldn't be an elected position, but I think I have the background. That's why I guess I'm now a politician and running for this office. I think it's time for somebody like the sheriff and all law enforcement to sit back, keep their mouths shut, and listen. We all need to come to the table. Everybody needs to come to the table. But right now with the Black Lives Matter, I think that if I were elected, I would sit there and be quiet and listen. It's time for me not to speak, time for me to listen and do what's right for all of us. So again, Black lives absolutely matter.
Okay, great. Our next question is from Marla Golden, and I'm just bringing her up. So Marla wrote out her question as well. And she wants, oh, are you there, Marla?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just curious what you're going to do to protect prisoners from the COVID virus that's going around right now in these state prisons.
For me, I think especially in the Norfolk County House of Correction, where you have a majority of people that are nonviolent criminal offenders, I wouldn't risk their health. I would be totally for releasing them under some sort of condition, whether it be a bracelet or anything like that. I mean, the issue there for me is that in my 29 years on the state police, I've come across, I've dealt with every single type of good person, bad person out there. And there are, I hate to say it, there are some some bad people who are violent, and who the violent criminal offender, you really have to be wary, and you have to consider the safety of the public before you release those people. But I think with the violent offender, you would have to take it on a case-by-case basis. But for nonviolent criminal offenders, and I also believe, while I'm on the subject, I believe that for nonviolent criminal offenders, less incarceration is better than more. I'm all about being productive and helping people. So I don't think sitting in a jail cell is very productive. I mean, I would like to look at the Norfolk County Jail as another institution of learning, if I may, where, we're going to be having quality time. These inmates are going to learn something. They're going to come out more positive and better than they were before they came in. That's my goal. But yeah, I mean, it's all about helping people.
Yes.
Okay, and we have the next person, who is Hannah Cohen.
Hello, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I appreciate a lot of what you said about trying to divert people so they don't end up back in our jails. My question relates a little bit to what John Kane brought up earlier. Increased training is useful for officers, but what accountability would you put into place to make sure officers acted based on that? Well,
with me on the state police, responsibility starts and ends with me. I can delegate authority. I can't delegate responsibility. So I can guarantee you, if I was the sheriff, I will be very, very present and very visible at the jail, and I assume all responsibility. Yeah, the training is important, but I believe, call me straight and narrow, call me what you want, but I would look at all the policy and procedures that are at the jail. And, I spent time in the Division of Standards and Training on the state police, and we're very policy driven. I understand that. I believe in that. I would look at all the policies and procedures at the jail, and if they're not up to the standard or what they should be, I'll rewrite them, because those jobs are extremely important that you follow the rules, especially in things like use of force, where you have to be educated on the level of force in the force continuum that is in place. And you need to have constant training. It's a job where, you need to have training all the time. You train. And that's what's going to prevent problems and issues. So the short answer is I would take a detailed look at policy and procedure, and if they're not what they should be, they'll be changed.
Okay, and our next question comes from Emily Hager.
Hello, thank you so much for being here. My question is about any ideas or thoughts you might have if you're elected as sheriff for the emerging adult population, 18 to about 25-year-olds that are younger, whose we know from research now that brain development is not really complete until age 25 or 26. So just curious about what your thoughts are on that population.
Well, I think as a sheriff, I know they have the camp in Braintree for kids up to 14. I think the sheriff has to be involved with the local police department and the district attorney in programs aimed at, the 18 and over, 14 and over, 18 and older kids that are at risk. It's education is prevention. So you need to be involved, and there needs to be more programs with kids in school. The sheriff and the police departments have to be more involved in just talking to kids and educating kids. So I'd be a big supporter of more programs for kids at risk in those age brackets.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's all we have signed up for questions so far. If you have a question you'd like to ask, Please go ahead, if you can, raise your hand or message me. Oh, Alicia Gardner is physically raising her hand. So Alicia, go ahead.
Don't ask me to do that other stuff. I have a question for you, Jimmy. You mentioned how you want to bring the females back to Norfolk County as opposed to sending out to Framingham MCI. Is that where they are now?
Yeah, they either get sent to MCI Framingham or they get sent down to Suffolk County. I
So
know.
what is the population of the jail, and is this a matter of building a facility for females, having it in a segregated area of the current jail? You know, how would that work?
Well,
'Cause
I know,
I'd
right?
love to see it.
I'm sorry.
opposed
I right now I know that the count is down. I think it's right around 310, 315. I think they hold upwards of 380, 400. So the count's down. I don't think they have the footprint to make any building changes at the jail. I would work with DCAM and same with, I would work with DCAM and try to get another house of correction. I would try to, have a women's unit. If there's a room up there at the current jail and they're segregated, obviously you would look into that. But I would work heavily with DCAM because I believe,
Explain what that is, Jim. Explain to us what DCAM is.
well, they're the Division of Capital Asset Management, which is a state agency, and they're the ones who get you the funding to build, to create and build infrastructure in the Commonwealth. So, you'd have to try and get grants and work with DCAM. But my basic premise is you have to try, right? I mean, maybe it would fail, but we have to try. And if I'm sheriff, I'm going to try anything and everything to be productive.
I'm glad to hear that you are advocating in that, because I always found that odd that they're all sent up there, and we have county jails for our men, and all the women are sent up to MCI Framingham. So thank you for that. I like to hear that. Are there any other questions? Because we actually have just less than 3 minutes to go with Jim. This time does fly.
Okay, we have one more. It looks like a quick question from John Kane.
Hey, Jim, are you familiar with an organization called NECAT? The abbreviation NECAT?
He also
I'm
wrote
sorry.
this in the chat.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what was it called?
Are you familiar with an organization? The letters are NCAT. And it's a wonderful organization. They work with ex-offenders. They're learning how to become chefs. And I was just on Zoom sessions with them. They'd like me to be their instructor. So I'm talking with them about providing, they have a fully set up, funded organization. So NECAT is a good one.
No, I think that's excellent. I believe in one thing I would want to get heavily involved in is creating partnerships with labor unions, and because I believe that employment is not singly but an extremely important element in somebody not reoffending. Because if you have to work and that's taking up your time, you don't have time to hang around and mess up. You're busy. Build self-esteem. I know up the jail they have OSHA programs, certificate programs. I truly believe those are wonderful things because that's an accomplishment. If you give somebody a certificate of completion or accomplishment, I think that's a wonderful thing. So I would be looking to expand those things. And I have not heard of this NCAT, but it sounds awesome to me. Sounds great to me.
Okay, Jim, you just have about a minute left. So please let us know, interested people here, how they can jump on your campaign, how to contact you. And we sincerely thank you for being with us tonight.
Great. Thank you all. I sincerely appreciate it. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak. I will say this, I'm a lifelong Democrat, always have been, always will be. You can reach me at www.coughlin2020.com. I'm on Facebook at Coughlin 2020, and I'm very proud to always give out my personal cell phone number.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. We've had up to 30 participants at tonight's meeting. We're thrilled to have them here. We're thrilled that you could be here, and we look forward to hearing from more of you as this campaign goes on.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thanks. Take care. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Take care.